How did you get involved in Nelson's Journey?
It was about a year ago. I found a leaflet. I called Nelson's Journey completely out of the blue. I didn't know whether they'd want to hear from me or not. And I spoke to Kim and Sophie, told them my story, which was that I'd lost my dad when I was 10, and was there anything I could do? And they said, yes, the camp's in 3 days, come down for the last day. So I was chucked in at the deep end, came down on the final day of the camp here, saw their work, I was blown away by it, and they made me a patron, and I was incredibly honoured. It was 1981 and a very, very different environment, pre-counselling. Everyone seems to do counselling, everyone's encouraged to talk about their feelings. Back then, I wasn't allowed to go to the funeral. That was a protection thing from my parents or from my mum. And that's something I've always bitterly regretted, but they did it with the best intentions, but just misplaced intentions. It was to stop me from being hurt. And I think that's what adults do. They try and protect children from death. And here at Nelson's Journey, they're encouraged to talk about it. That it's a terrible thing. It's something you don't want any child to go through, but it is a natural thing. And to try and hide it, you know, it actually does more damage long term. These kids here are being encouraged to really confront their feelings, but in a fun way. I mean, they're doing it, you know, they've got some great activities here. But at the end of the day, it's about confronting feelings, confronting huge emotions, and they are complicated emotions. It's anger, fear, resentment, the grief on top of that, confusion, loneliness, and all things that can alienate a child. And for the kids to be put in an environment where they're with other children who've been through the same thing is, I think, a massive part of the healing process, because I was the only person I knew that it happened to for a very, very long time, and that didn't help either. But I think this is such a vital charity and such a necessary charity, because children need an outlet, they need a voice, they don't need to be fobbed off and told, you know, shh, get on with it. This is you know, this is part of life. Death is part of life. I was here for the balloon ceremony, where you tied a message to a balloon, and you wrote to whom the person was on one side and a message to them on the other. And I did one, and Kim said, do one for your dad. I thought, I can't do one for my dad. 26 years, I think I'm fine with this. And we all came to this hilltop here, and all the kids were here, and you had to release the balloon and say goodbye. And the balloons floated out there and got smaller and smaller and smaller. It's incredibly symbolic, because it is like that's what happens, in that, you know, the memory of that person, although it doesn't fade, goes away, or the, you know, you are saying goodbye, effectively saying goodbye, and it was incredibly moving. The kids seemed fine. I was in shreds, and sort of had to turn away and bite my fists because I didn't want to show that I was crying. But they've asked me to be a volunteer, but I think that's for a bit later, because that requires training, and for me to confront probably a little bit more about what happened to me as well.